Aotearoa, and welcome to Tuesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news. Iran has decided to shift its policy from defensive to fully offensive due to the deadlock in efforts to agree a permanent end to its war with the United States. That's what a senior Iranian official told Reuters overnight. Meanwhile, Trump has threatened to bomb Oman, a Gulf emirate, and until recently an ally. All this is unnerving bond markets, with the yield on the US Treasury 30-year bond now at a 22-year high. And they aren't the only long bond yields to rise. It's a trend of higher money costs that is probably only getting started. However, domestically in the US, there have been two third-tier data items out today, and both somewhat positive. The NAHB Home Builder Sentiment Survey increased very slightly in August from its unusual July low, but it still remains lower than for most of 2026, as the core affordability pressures haven't really gone away. Meanwhile, the New York Fed's Regional Empire Factory Survey was more positive in its August report, with reporting strong current activity and new order flows that stayed positive. Employment hardly changed, however, and input cost pressures rose fast again, even if prices received eased. Meanwhile, Canadian inflation was reported back at 3% for July, a bit higher than the 2.9% expected, and possibly bringing a rate hike there back into play. Rising fuel prices are the key driver here. Across the Pacific in Singapore, they reported very strong July export growth, up 24% from a year ago to a new all-time monthly July record of 76 billion Singapore dollars, but not quite eclipsing their June levels. This is all based on the export of electronic equipment. Their big export destinations are the US, South Korea, Thailand, Taiwan, and India. This exporting strength enabled them to post a very large trade surplus in July. And Japan reported a softer economic activity expansion in the second quarter than expected. Analysts had expected their GDP to grow by 2% and up from 1.9% in the first quarter. But the data released yesterday only shows a 1.1% expansion. But that data is preliminary and may well get revised higher. Japanese industrial production rose 1.9% in June from May, and exceeding the earlier flash indication, which was very good on its own, and far exceeding the May 0.1% rise. This was the third consecutive monthly expansion and the strongest growth since January, and it took the year-on-year expansion up by an impressive 4.9%. China's industrial production was claimed to be up 4.5% in July from a year ago, basically meeting targets. Within that, they claim high-tech was up 16.9% on the same basis. But just like most months before, they claim they are doing this with electricity production only up 1.9% in July from the same month in 2025. It seems very implausible, the only country with fast-rising industrial production with essentially no growth in electricity used over the very long haul. More realistically, China said its retail sales were only up 0.6% in July from a year ago. According to these official sources, China's house prices are falling less now too. New housing was down 3.2% from a year ago, essentially unchanged from June. In fact, many more cities had no change or a small increase, especially top-tier cities. Second-tier cities aren't getting the same boost, however. Existing home sales prices are easing less too. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.73%, up 3 basis points from this time yesterday. The 30-year yield is at 5.31% and up 4 basis points, and its highest in more than 20 years. The price of gold is rising, now at $4,413 an ounce, up $37 from yesterday at this time. Silver's risen $1.50, just over $66 an ounce. And oil prices are up $1.52 from yesterday at just over $84 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just on $90.50 a barrel, up $2. And the Kiwi dollar is up 10 basis points from yesterday at just on 59 US cents. Against the Aussie, we've dropped 10 basis points to 83.1 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're up 10 basis points at 51 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just on 62.6, up 10 basis points from this time yesterday. And the Bitcoin price started at $64,245 and up 1.8% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been modest, however, and just on plus or minus 1.3%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.